that so that I can start to integrate that into sort of, my thought process of how do we support health in a different way.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, we love that. So the science behind the BioWell is based on the science of Kirlian photography. Are you familiar with Kirlian photography?
Not really, very superficially.
Okay. So this is a science that came around in the 1960s. In Russia, there was a couple that were electricians, and they would go and work on like high voltage hospital equipments. And one day on an accident, they put one
Mhm.
of their tools on one of these devices, and they saw that there's a light that appeared around their tool. So they thought that was really cool. They wanted to research this to understand how they could replicate this and how they could make this happen again in different settings. So then they created these camera systems that became known as Kirlian photography systems. That it was a plate that was connected to a positive and a negative, and whatever object they would put on the plate and apply an electrical impulse to would start to glow. And this became like a
Mhm.
very fascinating phenomenon that a lot of researchers would buy these camera systems, and that would research to see how their system is getting fluctuated, or how like different types of crystals or fruits have different types of energy patterns. And it became very, very
Mhm.
interesting when they started to take scans of their fingertips, that they realized that people that are healthy, that they have a full glow around their fingertips. But people that were diagnosed with different types of illnesses, then they had some of this energy that was missing. So that's where the research started. Dr. Konstantin Korotkov spent over 20 years with a team of scientists to really create patterns of what the different sections of the fingers are related to what parts of the system, of the energetic system. And they created these powerful software now.
That like is that following meridians? I mean, is this like a thought of is this similar to like the thought process of what's happening from an acupuncture standpoint, like energy meridians through the whole body, or is it a different particle
So yes,
pattern?
absolutely. We're since the end at the endpoint of our fingers and our feet, we have the endpoint of meridian pathways and acupuncture points. So that's how we're drawing information
Yeah.
from the system.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, now using the software that they created, now a lot of practitioners around the world can just do the scans, and with limited amount of research and education, they can start to understand patterns and what's happening. So it's becoming a very, very exciting field, and a lot of practitioners are coming on board to like understand how can they in real time show like especially before and after different types of measurements or therapies or products. This way we can even see the influence of different products on the energy body in real time, just for people holding a supplement or a medication in their hands without even consuming it. So that's the power of the technology. It's pretty much known as a scientific before and after device. Hi, Brandon. Welcome in.
Hmm. Is it
Hello, nice to meet you, Nima. I heard that I almost met you, sort of, in Las Vegas a few weeks ago.
You look familiar. You look like I've seen you somewhere
That's
before.
what
Well,
I.
it's great to be here
Oh,
with
I
you.
did not meet you, but yeah, I think we're close.
Yeah, it's probably our higher
Hey,
selves.
Brandon. Good
Hi,
morning.
Dr. Mona. Yeah, yeah,
So tell me a little bit about
yeah.
what you
So,
guys are doing
Obviously
there.
this was more for Dr. Mona.
Yeah, I want to understand what you guys are doing. Like, where are you guys at? Are you in, what state are you in?
I'm in California, but I work remotely with a company that's located in Florida, two locations in Florida, New York, and Texas.
Okay.
So yeah, so we're working. So we have patients and clients who come through the clinic. They do lots of different testing while they're in the clinic. And then we, ingest all of that data and balance it out. We also do functional medicine testing, which would include things like gut microbiome and oral microbiome and micronutrient testing and hormone testing and plastic testing, all kinds of different areas, toxin testing to really understand. sort of what the body burden looks like, what the exposome looks like, what your internal cells are looking like, and then using that information plus whole body MRI and DEXA scans and heart scans and brain scans to map out different areas so that we can try to optimize health throughout your lifetime. Pick up things early and then also just check in and see how you're doing, and then figure out where we need to put our focus and what are all the systems that need some extra support.
Oh, that's
But,
powerful.
I think one of the things I think we could, do better in regards to supporting, detoxification on a cellular level. I think that's a really key component. And so that was another interest I had in the technology, from this device is, could it give us insight into, how is your liver really burdened with lots of things that we need to work on? Are there issues around, the bile systems, the lymphatic systems? There's not a lot of good measurement tools to help understand, like, for example, lymphatics. It's
Hmm.
very subjective, and we don't, so if this informs or gives us information about how the lymphatics are working and what struggle there is, that would be really valuable.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're almost like in the same area of research, because I've been doing research on the energy body and the bio will for the close to the last 8 to 10 years, and so I'm like really mastered the energy field. But now we want to. There's a lot more other scientists, researchers that are coming on board that they want to get more information and kind of like look at the wholeness of the energy wellness, and then look at, okay, what is already manifested to the physical system, which seems that you guys already got that covered with the DEXA scans and the brain scans and heart monitors and things like that. So that would really like make everything and bring it into a holistic view of that person's health and wellness. Because on BioWell we can see a lot of patterns. So we can see there's overactivity in different areas. We can see there's energy blockages in different areas, but we don't know like how long has this been going on and has it already manifested the physical body. So it's going to be very
Uh-huh.
powerful as far as what you're looking for to understand exactly what are the systems that are under stress and to what level. And you can even see the level of toxicity that's built up in what areas on the energy field. And then, looking at your other types of assessment tools and diagnostic tools, that is going to give you a beautiful image of that person's health and wellness. And I'm going to share my
Yeah.
screen real quick. I want to show you about the questions that you ask about how can you look at liver and different areas and toxicity and lymphatics, to give you just a quick reference point of when you're looking at the biofield. Like this is the light blue color that's going around the body. This is the energy of health and wellness.
Yeah.
This is their biofield. So once we go around this system, it's giving us like right now I'm pointing to this area here, and it's giving me information on the immune system. And then it gives us an energy joules value. So now we can tell, okay, the energy joules here is 4.33. So based on the research that they did, they created this optimal range that every system is operating with a 4 to 6 joules of energy on an optimal range. Now, if the system is under 4, then they're underactive, they're not getting enough energy to it. If it's over 6, then that means that it's overactive. There's too much work that's being done in that space. So that gives us a lot of beautiful information about what systems are under stress in real time. So like right now, immune system is 433. That's perfectly within the 4 to 6 range. So I know that system is optimal energetically. But now as you come up, you see all this red stuff that are building up in these areas, like down in this section here. That's almost just like below the blue points. These are all the
Uh-huh.
chronic energetic patterns that are building up in the system. So that's a lot of the heavy metals, the toxicity, the fascia that's getting built up. So that's how we can visually
Yeah.
see, like if I come here, that's the liver of this person. And if I see these red dots that are
Yeah.
built up there, that's going to tell me that, the issue with toxins that are building up in the liver area, it's been going on for a while. And when I look at the energy value, you can see it's over 6 now. It's 6.71. So that immediately tells me that there is some toxins built up, that the liver is getting overworked right now. And I know that it's chronic because I can see these red
How do you
dots.
know? How do you know it's toxins? How do you know it's not viral? Like, do you know? Can you tell from this map what it is exactly?
No, we can't tell exactly
And do
what
you
it
know which?
is.
You can't tell. Okay.
No, we can't tell what it is, but
So it
usually
just
it's
tells
related to
you,
toxins. Yeah.
it's telling you that there's some overload on the liver. And this map is based on the research from St. Petersburg,
This is,
from
yes.
the work they did there.
Yes, and there's many, papers that are published on the research. I mean, we have over, I think it's 400 PhD papers that are published on the different types of research and different types of, modalities using this technology.
Awesome, awesome. I'm very interested in peptides, and out of St. Petersburg in Russia, also Dr. Kavinson he passed away now, unfortunately, but he did all the work on these bioregulator peptides. So these are small amino acid sequences that help to heal the body because they cause epigenetic changes in the cell to help reset the cell to health. So you can do, if you need to focus on the liver or you need to focus on the pancreas or the retina or anything, he created all of those peptides to help to heal. So I wonder if, there was, communication between, I'm sure, this group and what they were doing with the bioregulator peptides as well, because they seem to be very much in sync of what you'd want to do.
Yeah, so we are a research and development company that we've been doing this for the last 8 years. So we work with many top level companies that, they have peptides, they create their own peptides. We work with, exosomes, we work with stem cells. I mean, you name it, we are doing the research on that field. And we see amazing results. Just by holding onto the peptide bottle and doing a before and after scan, we can get a baseline of the energy of the person without the peptide. And as soon as they actually hold it in their hands without even wanting to inject it to their system, we can immediately see how it's going to influence their system. And
Yeah.
that's the research
So
that
this
we're
is
doing
like
for
muscle
peptide companies.
testing. Like, for example, when the practitioners do muscle testing and they're trying to see, is this the right thing for you? Is it similar to kind of what you're picking up with the BioWell?
So muscle testing is not very scientific. Muscle testing, the intention of the practitioner, intention of the person, if somebody else standing there, all of that can influence muscle testing.
Exactly.
So this is a
Right.
scientific way of doing muscle testing simultaneously from every single system in the body when you're doing a 10-finger scan. Or you can just do a 2-finger scan, which only gives you information about the autonomic nervous system and the endocrine system.
Mm-hmm.
So then we can see different products influence of those two major systems a lot quicker by doing a stress scan instead of a full body scan. But as a researcher, like for you that are working with peptides, then you want to do the full scan. So you want to do a baseline scan of the 10 fingers, and then you want to have them hold on to the peptide. And we usually run this research for, let's say, like 30 to 40 people that they're holding onto the products before and after. And then we compile the data using special softwares that we've created that now you can see the percentage of improvement on every single system of the body related to that specific peptide or product that you're testing.
And with the person, so when they're doing that, before they take the peptide, then do they need to test every day after they've ingested the peptide or injected the peptide, for example, to see the course of how long it's lasting? Or how do you kind of use the measurements after
So it depends on the research that you're doing. If you want to see the length of the influence of the peptide on their system, then you can have a system that you can maybe scan on once a week or once a month to see how the system is actually influencing. But to look at the influence of a product on the energy body is immediate. You can just do a scan right there. That will tell you if this is going to down the line have a positive effect on that person or not.
Yeah. How much fluctuation day to day do you see on the energy systems? Like if you had a bad night's sleep, are you going to have just a drastic change in your energy body? Or is it kind of, you sort of have little fluctuations, but we know baseline where you stand?
So, we're measuring energy in real time. So if you haven't had sleep good enough, you didn't sleep 8 hours, then most likely your energy levels are going to be a bit lower. And that's what we can, measure in the system. But for that reason, we don't just pay attention to one scan. We usually want to have multiple scans that we're looking at the patterns that are building up. That's what we really pay attention to as scientists and researchers. That
Very nice.
maybe the one time we scanned you, maybe you had an emotional thought, or on your way to the research center, maybe it was a stressful drive or something that just influenced you negatively. But now if I have we usually look at least 3 scans of a person in order to make any kind of a recommendation. And then once we put the 3 scans together, we have a lot of data that people that are more in charge of their emotional bodies, they have more of a balanced autonomic nervous system, then there's only a little bit of a fluctuation between the readings of different days. It could be even different months. But people that have issues in different systems, when we scan them multiple times, we see a big degree of variation in the energy field or the balance of the system. And that's what we usually pay attention to the fluctuations and not the systems that are maintaining their balance.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's like checking a glucose one time doesn't tell me if you have diabetes or not. It's really the pattern of what's happening over time that will give us that information. Yeah. And this is based on photons being released. Is that correct? Like, can you tell me a little bit more about what exactly the signal is being picked up by the machine?
So what we're measuring is we're measuring the photonic emission from the tip of the fingers. So if I come over here, like when we do the 10 finger scan, this is kind of like what we see. And this is like a black and white image of the light that's actually being emitted from the tip of the fingers. So then the software will, there's different sections that the software will select them and would analyze the brightness and the area that the photons are covering. And based on that information, then we can see the wellness of a specific system. So now in here, if I go to the full scan, see when I go in this area, you can see the finger scan at the bottom of the screen. And you can see like the section number 5 is the section that's highlighted. So that's how it's picking up the photonic information from that specific system and is correlating it to that organ or system or whatever that we're looking at.
But that picks up immune system, but that could be...
Yeah, and then if you click here, you can, for example, go to information, and it gives you all the different variations of the inner nodes of the photonic emission. Gives you information about the inner area, intensity, the norm radius. So this is usually what researchers and scientists love to take a look at, so they can get all the data from the emission of the photons.
But if you're highlighting the immune system, how do you know, is it immune system from the gut? Is it immune system, a bone marrow issue? Is it a circulation issue? Like, how can you kind of hone in on exactly what is going on with the immune system?
So once we look at the system as a whole, then it becomes very apparent of like, why is the immune system, like for this person is normal, but if it was low or high, then when we're looking at that, for example, this is showing us the flow of blood in coronary vessels and how the energy is getting circulated there. So if you notice, pay attention, you see the pattern here is not really moving. See that over here, energy is moving very beautifully, like rays of sun. But if you look here, this is more of a sign of stagnation. So that's like energy is getting blocked there. And then you can see right after it is the hips area. So usually this is a pattern that we see for a lot of people because people are sitting down every day in their office and most of people's hips are out of balance. And when that happens, then it puts a lot of pressure. If you look at a different view of this, see all these red dots? The red dots are showing us very high intensity photons in the system. And that tells us where is the most pressure in the system. What systems are the most stressed. So now when I look here, I see the coronary vessels under stress. And if I come up here, so this is the heart, I can see the same red dots that are over there. If I come here, that's the heart again. You can see the red dots there. So that immediately tells me that, okay, like the circulation of this person is, it needs some attention. And then we can look at, for example, other areas like here, we have the pituitary, we see a shoot out there. So once you understand the flow, like see the top of the head, how the blue becomes a lot lower, that tells us that there is a lot of blockages in the flow of energy through the spine or the hips. That's why energy is not getting to the top of the head. And then there's a lot of other variations. So you can look at the way that the body is actually allocating energy to different areas. So now the ones that have the biggest shootouts, these are the systems that are overusing the energy in the system and depleting the rest of the systems. So then we can see which ones are actually the weakest energy points in the body. And then by studying that, then you should be able to exactly understand like why is the immune system high or low.
Yeah.
And then that shows you the toxicity levels, if they have their thyroid throat area, the respiratory system, their liver, their kidneys, or your genital system. If these are all overactive, then we just know that there's toxins that are built up in their system because all their filters are dirty. So that's how by looking at the information, you can really pinpoint to see exactly like what's going on with that person. Like this person has a food sensitivity. See, when the blind gut is shooting out like that, that shows us that something that they're eating is not agreeing with them. And then if you look at their energy values, and we see all these areas that toxins are building up, like that just could be related to the food sensitivity, that they're eating something that is not agreeing with them, they're not digesting it, and then now that's turning into toxins in their system. So I mean,
so because of the blind gut pattern plus the energy, but how do you know that those toxins are not also heavy metals? I mean, those can also affect the gut.
So then that's when you do other testing.
Or
so you do different types of testings. I mean, this is just showing us areas we need to pay attention to, and then you do further testing on those areas. And then like for this, if I see a blind gut that's shooting out and I see these kind of patterns on the stomach area, then maybe I would recommend a food sensitivity test. And then we can get the results from there. We can see what they're sensitive to, and then we start working with that person to reduce that from their diet.
Okay. And the patterns, so the patterns, you said you're looking for a series of what shows how long typically, and I know I'm sure it's person by person, but is it, if you've got a lot of things, it's going to take a while to change your pattern? Or is this like, okay, we make a few interventions and people's energy starts to flow and we have to give them these lifestyle, and if they stick with that, they'll have a good flow overall ongoing?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. We have, we look at their scans and then we make them some recommendations. We have other technologies here that measures the flow of energy through their blood, so we can see how is the flow of blood in the prefrontal cortex. And we want to look at to see if there's any inflammation that's already manifested to the physical body. Then we study their autonomic nervous system. Then we study their HRV. So then the BioWall is giving us all the information we need for the energetic system. And then once we combine this with the other systems, then we get a very beautiful image of what's going on with that person.
So the HRV, when you're looking at the HRV patterns on this, you can pick up other systems in the body that might be affecting the HRV?
So in here we can actually look at the autonomic nervous system, and if I can move my screen here. So if you come to the balance tab here, right here, we're looking at the autonomic nervous system. So the blue is showing this parasympathetic system, the green is showing the sympathetic. So now you can tell immediately, okay, what are the systems that are not in balance or in range for that person? So if you have a lot of these guys that are active, then we know that, okay, we need to somehow maybe work with HRV or something to balance the autonomic nervous system. So the blue ones are higher, they're more parasympathetically dominant. The ones that the green ones are higher, it's more sympathetic. And then we can look at those values right in here. So we can see what is the dominance of parasympathetic to sympathetic for this person, and how many systems are activated in a parasympathetic way, how many systems are in a sympathetic way, and how much total energy they're using for all the different systems. So all of that, gives you amazing information to want to, bring more insight.
But it doesn't tell you why they're into sympathetic or parasympathetic, or is that you have to track it with the toxin buildup and the other maps that you were showing?
So it will tell you, see if there's 6 of them that are highlighted here that says, they're in a parasympathetic, Then we go to the balance tab, and then you know exactly the ones that the blue ones are higher, which is number 5 is the liver, number 6 is the pituitary gland, number 22 is the epiphysis or the pineal, 23 is the hypothalamus, 24 is nervous system, 26 is immune system. So these are the systems that are, they're not really in a coherent field for that person at that time. And then if you want to fix their ANS, then you do a HRV session with them. So, and then after the HRV, you can measure it again to see how did the autonomic nervous system switch off. So usually when people go into a very state of calm, right after meditation or after a very powerful HRV session, all these values come to the green zone here, and they're all grayed out. Nothing is highlighted. That's the perfect state of coherence. But when you have the ones that are highlighted, then those are the systems that are under stress.
But those systems could be under stress again because they're toxic, and you have some brain inflammation causing the brain areas to be out of balance. So do remember, you take this to map it together light?
Yeah, we're only looking at the energy body here. So we're not looking at the physical system here, right? We're looking at the energy that's passing through these systems.
Right.
And then you need to do more further investigation with your other technologies that's looking more into the physical body. And then that will complete the picture for you. This is going to give you 50% of the information of the energetic system. And then once you add the physical system to it, then you're really looking at that person in a holistic way.
Yeah, because I have a lot of people who have very bad HRV and they meditate and they do all the things and their breath work and they're like, I'm doing everything and my HRV is still terrible. And so it would be fantastic to be able to measure which systems are out of balance and then figure out why those systems are getting blocked to not allow for that energy flow for the autonomic nervous system to get back into rhythm.
Mm-hmm. And by looking at the biofield and all of these other graphs that we talked about, once you go through all of it, then you know exactly what are the systems. And this is only one scan. If I had 3 scans and we went through this, and you would exactly find out, okay, these are the systems that are repeatedly showing they need attention. And then by looking at which one has the worst value, then you can tell, okay, this is the weakest link. This is where I need to start.
Okay. That's awesome.
And now remember, this is before manifestation to the physical. So that's how powerful this is, that we get that information. And that if you catch it at the right point, that may not have even manifested to the physical. So now we're seeing information that we can quickly, through maybe a diet change or maybe their posture or something simple, we can correct the issue. While if we ignore it and we don't do anything with it, then it's going to influence the physical body, and it gets manifested.
Right. How about using things like light therapy, getting people out in the sun, using red light therapy? How does that show up on your scans?
So, depending on different people and how the light therapy is going to influence them, you're going to get real-time data of what's happening for that specific system. So usually based on my experience on red light therapy, we see that energy goes higher because we're adding more photons to the field. And then we see that inflammation goes lower. So the shootouts and overactivities, they become less. And then sometimes we see these red stuff that are built up, that they actually leave the system. So that's a sign that in real time, that session had a big detox effect of that field.
Okay. So
it's
they
all
could
visual.
do a scan.
The power of BioWell is everything is visual. You can have somebody think about something negative, scan them, and you're going to see these crazy shootouts in their head. And then you have them calm themselves down, think about something positive, we rescan, and they go away. In real time.
Even I've observed that. I'm an end user, right? Dr. Mona is my doctor. This is more for her. I'm just one of her patients. But even I've observed that already between my wife and I, right? If she gets angry, I'll have her go do a scan, and it shows up immediately. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. It's fascinating, the information that we get from BioWell. You think about love. If somebody's sending love to somebody else, we scan them, you can actually see from their heart there's this energy that's shooting out towards another person. It's wild.
No, I've observed that too with my own meditation. So it's pretty amazing. It surprised me because I'm a technologist, a software developer by trade, and And I was a little bit suspicious, but then we started trying it. I bought one and just been trying it at home, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I'm a software engineer too. So if two software engineers are verifying this, that's big.
Yes.
I mean, I think that there's definitely, I mean, the energetics, like I said, I think the physics of doing these types of scans and understanding the body in this way is really powerful. Yeah, it's just, integrating all the pieces into it. Like I said, like if I get an immune system lighting up, there's so many things that factor into the immune system. But I think, it sounds like getting these patterns and understanding holistically all the things that could impact the immune system.
Yeah, because you as a doctor, like you have that information. As soon as you see that the energy of the immune system is shooting out, and you're looking at like respiratory system, you see a big shoot out respiratory system. You look at sinuses, there's overactivity in the sinuses. So it will draw a picture for you. Then every single time, once you look at it, you're like, this is why. Or sometimes we see like their immune system is overactive, and then we look at their spine and we see the energies throughout the spine is all overactive. And those are usually people that have like a spondylosis. They have like severe, I don't know what's going on with my camera here. And they have severe like energetic issues that it shows up right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Have you had people, you were mentioning about supplements, because I'm interested in that too. Because oftentimes we have people on kind of multiple supplements to treat multiple different systems that are going on. And I'm very much interested in trying to limit those multiple supplements to try to hone in on what exactly they really need. Have you, in your experience, have people been able to really like hone in on the supplements that are essential based on these tests?
Absolutely. That's like one of the funniest sessions that we do is usually people come in with a big bag of all of their supplements that they're taking. And then we start doing the stress scan. So we just do the two ring fingers like this. So we do it just baseline of them without touching any of the supplements. And it will show us their stress level and their energy level. And then we have them hold on to different supplements. We write the name down here in the notes. And then we quickly just scan their two ring fingers holding on to the supplement with the name down there. So then after like 4, 5, or 6 different supplements that we're testing, then we compare all of them together, and it's clear as daylight that you can see all the supplements that are increasing their stress levels, or the ones that are decreasing their energy, or the ones that are actually helping them. They're decreasing their stress and increasing their energy. So in real time, you can tell them, okay, don't take these anymore. Just stick with these guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah, some sessions, our clients, they just come in for that. They just come in to test their supplements or their even medication. Like we have so many cases of people that are, for example, are taking thyroid medication. But once we scan them, we see that no, the energy of the thyroid is still overactive or is still underactive. But people that their medication is the right amount and it's the right dosage for them, once we scan them, even if they have thyroid issues, then we see that those values are staying within the balance. So that gives us a lot of information about medication that people are taking that's not really agreeing with them.
Mm-hmm. Again, how is that? Because, sometimes people need certain supplements for a certain period of time and then they need to go off of them. And then we may need to cycle them later on. So recommendations of like, how often would you retest a medication or a supplement?
That depends on like the supplement or the medication, but usually once a month or something like that as a person is going through. I mean, every time they come back, like we just like reduce a few supplements. We're like, okay, only take those. We're going to test you again next week to see how your energy state is. They come back next week, we test them again. If you see a big improvement, then we just want them to continue taking whatever they're taking to see how far can we push it. But if you don't
yeah.
Go ahead.
So go ahead.
But if you don't see any kind of an improvement, then we want to retest them again to see, okay, now can we find a better combination for them?
Okay. So you really have to do quite a few of these scans to know where people
you're
are
researching.
at.
You want to get as much data as possible to be able to make sense of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's very fast. It doesn't take that long. It's just like, in a matter of like 5 minutes, you can scan like 10 different products or 10 different supplements.
Nima, I have a question.
Sure.
Just as a home user who bought this, like obviously Dr. Mona works with mostly high net worth patients and around the country. And as a home user, I went and bought one of these things. Um, it seems like it's just totally random, but if she had a whole bunch of patients who each went out and bought one of these things, do they each need to have their own, whatever it is, like $30 or $60 a month subscription so that they can do a scan once a week?
No, they can. So if she has a viable device, they can either go to her business to do a scan, or depending on how comfortable you are, we can use the system remotely as well. So we can teach you how to even scan your customers anywhere in the world using this technology.
That's more what I was getting after. It's not like the 60 or 30, whatever it is a month, is it that big of a deal, but it's just kind of an interesting model. It's a different model because people can't necessarily go to Dr. Mona's clinic because her patients are all over the country.
Yeah.
She's in California, I'm in Las Vegas, right? And she has patients everywhere. And so I'm sure the patients would have no problem dropping a couple grand to buy a BioWell. Most of her patients would be able to easily afford that.
Yeah.
I was just curious if like all of us have to have our own subscription, or is it something where Dr. Mona can have one subscription and like somehow we use that one, or do we each? It's just like a barrier of entry for her using it with all of her remote patients.
Yeah, I could. I mean, we could come up with some.
Do that?
That's a great idea, and we could definitely come up with some special ways to help you in your situation. If you have a large client base that you can sell the viable devices to, then we can make like a customer account for them. So like they wouldn't be able to see like all of the information or anything like that, but they would just be able to scan, and then the information would come to your system. So then that
Yeah,
way
that would be
you can
amazing.
sell them the
Yeah, because
device,
then I
and
could
then
have a dashboard and just take a look and see how people are doing. Yeah.
exactly
Interesting. No,
that
no, that's
way.
helpful, Nina. I just brought it up because that's the relationship with her and I. Like, I have my own subscriptions so that I could just experiment with it on my own,
Mhm.
but I don't have any way of getting the data to her. And of course, I want to be able to see my own data too. And just, I don't need to see any of her other patients, obviously. I just want to be able to scan my wife and I and like do a meditation and then see how it works. But at the same time, it'd be nice if it was like it'd be nice if she had like a practitioner license and I just signed in somehow underneath her where I could do my own scans and see my own results, but then she can pull up mine and my wife's and take a look as well. It's just as from an end user, so maybe a little different scenario than you're used to seeing, but I can see how this would be potentially a lot of people in this scenario too, as
Yeah,
your
for sure.
sales grow.
And all of the viable systems are connected. So if you do a scan and if Dr. Mono has a viable device, then from your system you can forward that scan into her system. So then she will
Oh,
have
I didn't
immediate
know that.
access.
I did not know that. That's cool. Is that just in the app? I can just say forward the scan to somebody else.
Yeah, if you come here to this section, see that this
Thanks
paper
for
plane
showing me.
icon. Of
Okay,
course,
yeah.
if you click on this
Nice.
paper plane icon here, it's going to ask you where would you like to send to, and then you can,
Yep.
like, my username is Nima02. That's what I used to log into BioWell, and then whatever username that you put in here and you click OK, that scan will be sent to that account, and then when they go to received here, you're going to see those scans that show up in this received section over here.
Oh, that's awesome. Cool. I know you're not like the tech support, but thanks for humoring me there. It's an
Of
interesting,
course.
different scenario than I thought of. So
Yeah, and you should definitely come to our meetings on Wednesdays. Every Wednesday we have support meetings on Lightworkers app. So definitely come to those meetings. There's a lot of amazing, like, we have all of our practitioners that come ask questions. Like, we're really here to make a big shift in the wellness for humanity. And there's a lot of education. There's a lot of support. So it's not just buying a device from us. Like, you become a part of our network, and we are not just about BioWell. There's many other technologies that we research and we can introduce to you down the line that will really like empower your practice with the latest technologies. And we're connected to the top of researchers and scientists in the world. I work directly with Gaia TV. I mean, we do a lot of high level work. So we would love to have you guys as a part of our team, especially Dr. Mono and her expertise.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's a lot of amazing work we can do together.
I would love that. I would love that. Can you explain this page, Nima, that you have up right now? What is this representing?
So
this
this is
lifestyle
more of
page that you
a for
have
your
here.
like your layman person that doesn't want to go and like look at the whole bio scan. They just want to quickly see, okay, what do they need to work on? So this is going to separate the system into the nutrition, and it gives them a percentage. It should be ideal close to 100%. So if 78% nutrition, that means that like this person needs to work on their nutrition. This is about their psychology and their outlook on life. And if you click on it, it will tell you like, okay, it's constant stress, very high speed of life, excessive consumption of information are affecting our energy, stress and balance levels, and also our nervous system functioning. So this is hormonal activity, this is sleep regimen, this is environment, and that's physical activity. So then just by a glance, we can kind of like tell the patient of, okay, this is areas that I need you to improve on. And then we can keep track of it. So when they come back, we'll see, okay, did their physical activity improve or did it go lower?
Yeah. How about the doshas, the tab of doshas that you have there on the top?
I'm the educator for the company. I have access to some extra tabs that is not usually included with the buyable purchase. These are additional tabs. Like if you're an Ayurvedic practitioner, then you can purchase this specific tab to show up on your scan. So everything I showed you is included. The dosha, vertebrae, and teeth, these are not included with your purchase. These are extra add-ons. So this is for usually chiropractors. This is for like biological dentists, and this is for Ayurvedic practitioners.
Very interesting. Yeah. And the teeth one, can you tell me a little bit more? Because we're very, we're doing the oral microbiome testing. We refer our patients to biological dentists.
That's
and
perfect.
I actually just went to see my biological dentist.
Yes.
And he did a whole meridian testing for me to kind of see the connection with different areas. So this is interesting that you have this. So I have a number of patients who have a lot of ongoing dental issues. Would this inform us on how their progress is as they're going through treatments, or?
Definitely, yeah. So this is the information that's coming to these different areas. Like if I click on that tooth, it would tell me the total energy there. So see, it's a little bit underactive. It should be at least 4. So I know that, okay, it's not enough energy is getting there. And then it tells me the organs that are connected to that tooth. So on the meridian chart, the cardiovascular system, the duodenum, ileum, jejunum, pituitary, and sinuses are connected to that system. So a lot of people that actually, like, this was a big conversation we had with a biological dentist. We're doing a lot of research with biological dentistry right now to correlate this page right here to what they're finding on their x-rays. And we just had different cases done that they do the full like x-ray of an entire jaw. They call it the coning scan. And you could see the people that have their wisdom teeth that are pulled, that there is a lot of issues that comes with that. And when we get these markers that these are orange, then that's not a good sign, especially if the person has pulled their wisdom teeth, and there could be some like extra like pockets of bacteria, things like that building up where they pulled the wisdom tooth. So that's a big thing right now for biological dentistry. And also this shows you the different vertebrae that are connected to that tooth. So then if somebody's having issues with that tooth, then we can go and work on those vertebrae. We can know the frequency of those systems to add it into their regimen. And we can also see, okay, exactly what meridian pathway, which is the yang of the small intestine, to work on. And then in here, if you go to the yin yang, this is a part of your system. You can see all the major meridian pathways and exactly like how energy is moving through them, how's the balance. So that will give you different ways of knowing, okay, where do I need to focus on this person? If they have like their small intestine, that's the one we're looking at. This is the pathway for that. So now, using electroacupuncture, using different modalities, we can actually add energy to those systems.
Awesome. That's great.
And usually I never go this depth in just the first session, but since you're a doctor and you have this full understanding of this, that's why like I'm just adding all the information for you. I don't want to like overwhelm you.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
No, me too. That's super cool. I did not know you had the dental mode either. Like even just as a boring home user, I'm kind of curious because my wife has been going through quite a bit of biological dental work as well. And so I'm sure that would be very useful information to have.
Yeah. And on top of all of this, if you have more room for me to add stuff in there, I can bring in a couple of more things for you. So now I'm a software engineer myself, and I'm a biophysicist. I'm also a doctor of natural medicine. So for the last 8 years of my research on this technology, and I had a very severe heart issue that doctors wanted to put a pacemaker for me. But using BioWorld and researching myself, I was able to get rid of all my symptoms. And that was over 12 years ago. So now what I've done is that I've created my own software, which is a research software that will pretty much automate a lot of these tasks. So to answer one of your questions, as far as like, how your other people can get BioWorld scans and share with you, we'll definitely work on the way that you can have a special account for your customers. But we have a global network of BioWorld scanners and practitioners already. So then they could just go maybe to one of our practitioners and get a scan and then share that information with you. So this is a network that we've created that we can even market your center. We can connect other BioWorld practitioners to bring more business into your center. Since most of our practitioners, they just scan. They don't do anything else to want to actually work with a person. And then on top of this, we've created this software here. Let me see if I can find it. I gotta log into it real quick for you so you can see that one. That the software, what it does is it automatically analyzes your scans for you. And then you can add a whole bunch of different scans in there, and it will create like a recommendation engine that you can go and you can add your own products, your own services, and then use the BioWell as kind of like the brain of your operation. So when you scan somebody with a BioWell, then it will guide you to like what other services for them to work with. So this is the software here. So when we connect our BioWell software to the system, then you can immediately look at the person's scans and see, okay, let's say this person here. And then let's say they have, let me pick somebody else that has more scans. So then let's say we have all of these different scans from this person. And then you want to see, okay, how do we really understand what is the system that you need to start paying attention to and work with? So now what I would come is that I can click on one of the scans here, and it will come and it will have a different visual presentation of all the systems and their energy levels. And then what I can do is I can just click on attention, and immediately it comes and shows me all the systems that are out of range instead of wanting to go and study the entire system. So this is now shown out of range for that one scan. Now, if I go and click on multiple scans, this is going to get an average value of all of my scans. And this way, it's going to give me a very solid information that based on all of these scans now, when I click on attention, it shows me that these are the systems that are repeatedly showing that they need attention for this person. So that's how you can really get to the bottom of it. And then if you have your own products, you can add it in here to the system. For example, if you have a specific formulation for thyroid, then when you click on thyroid, your product will come up here and you can add that to the cart for your customer. This makes a website for your customers specifically per customer. So then they can always log into their own website and have access to your recommendations. And we've connected this to AI also, that you can go based on their scans. You can fill the questionnaires here to get a lot more detailed information about their system. And then we can have AI to look at their system and make all different types of recommendations. So for example, if I want a nutrition, it's going to go study all the systems that showed on average that needs attention for that person. And then I can come and get guide. Now, let's say you have lab results, you have different types of information from that person, from your other systems. You can upload them in here. And then this system is going to look at all the information that you have provided. And then it starts to produce a recommendation guide based on that information for the person. This is like a month diet that shows, the calories, it gives them recipe of how to make the food. And, if they have filled out their questionnaires and, if they're taking any medication, then it's going to recommend any product that is has like a counter effect on the medication. If they're allergic to any kind of a food, it's going to take all of those out of these recommendations so that they can have a more specific regimen. So there's a lot of work in here, and then you can use this for research as well. So let's say you have your supplements you want to research, you can come and we can create a research for a specific supplement for you. We do some research for stem region. And then when you have the before and afters, we can take a look at the system. It keeps counts of, okay, after 7 people that you had them held onto that supplement, how many people actually had a positive influence to that product. So then overall, when you have 30, 40, you can get actually the percentages of what are your products or the products that you're using, their influence on all of the different systems at the same time. And this could be their positive influence, or you can see what they're negatively influencing.
Yeah.
So that's, there's a lot more, but I don't have sleep. I just
That's
keep
amazing.
adding to these systems to make it more and more accurate.
Yeah,
And so
as you know, you have to sleep. As you know, you have to sleep. 2 questions, and hopefully they'll be quick, not to take too much of your time, but have you had practitioners have success of reversing sleep apnea using the BioWell and doing evaluation as to why people would have sleep apnea?
Sleep apnea, we don't have too much research with BioWell on it. We do a lot of work on HRV with that to see, usually when we improve people's HRV, their sleep apnea goes away. And one of the side effects of sleep apnea is when they have a misbalanced autonomic nervous system. So when they can practice those types of breathings and train their system that way, then we have a lot of positive results with people overcoming sleep apnea. But the BioWell is not really a right tool for that.
Yeah.
Tinnitus?
How about tinnitus or tinnitus? Do you have people who've reversed that process? Because that's another difficult one from a kind of, even integrative medicine standpoint. I don't think we understand it fully yet, but I'm just curious if you've seen anyone.
Not with the BioWell, but
with
the other technologies. We have total 6 different technologies that we use. BioWell is for our energy system. We use a system that measures the HRV and autonomic nervous system. We have a system that measures the flow of blood in their brain and has different types of games or practices that they can do to actually correct it. Our ANS system has a biofeedback, so we can work with people. We can see exactly how is their autonomic nervous system, what is the capillary permeability, and then we can have them to practice with a breath biofeedback system, and that's powerful. So we have another system that works with microcurrents that measures the energy and the conductivity in the system, and then it actually sends signals to correct it. So these are usually the systems that we use together, and there hasn't been a thing. We have doctors that have been using especially the medical portion of the system that I mentioned for over 6 years, and they have many, many successful cases of all different types of issues. So everything has its own place. BioWell is not a medical system. We're just using it to analyze the energy body. And then you have to go to different types of tools to specifically work on medical symptoms and things like that. But you will definitely see the changes in the energy value. If somebody's have those issues, and there's usually a lot of toxins built up, their stress levels are influenced, their autonomic nervous system is out of whack. But when they go away, then you just see the biofeed become so much more coherent. They don't have as many shootouts. And it's visually very clear to see that.
Yeah. No, it seems to be there's some connections for the liver and bile systems and some other things that are related to all of that, all of the dysregulation of the nervous system as well. Super. No, this is really great. Very, very helpful. If there's a way that I can get in touch, just so if we wanted to, because I know Dr. Messier, she's our medical kind of the overseer of our medical team, and I spoke to her briefly about our call. She's also very interested in learning more, so we may want to do another call with her as well, and then just exploring about getting a device and using that device. And another question: so if you need 3 scans, most of our patients and clients are in the clinic one day only. Is it possible to do a scan in the morning and the scan in the evening or in the late afternoon? Could you do it in the same day, or does that not make
No,
sense
actually,
to
we
pick up?
prefer that. If you have the scans
Those-
if you can get 3 scans back to back, that's to look at the have more information
Yeah.
to look at that person in that specific moment. But usually, we don't have time
Yeah.
to want to do 3 scans in the same day. So we do like 1 scan one day, and then they come back another day. We have another scan. But then once we have at least 3 scans of the person, then we can get a lot more solid information. And even if they're from different times of the day, it's even better because now we can see how their system is fluctuating throughout the day.
Yeah, I would say even because I've had mine for a month or so or 2 now, and even I can say like from my observation, if you just had one in the morning and noon and night, like that's already that gives you a pretty good thing. And even I've noticed for myself, it's very easy to see the commonalities between like morning, noon, and night. And like there's some things that shift, but there's some things that definitely stay the same. I'm sure Nina, you have, and you guys have tons more experience than me, but even I, as an end user, taking a couple of scans a day, sometimes it's very obvious to see.
Yeah, it just talks to you. I mean, after a little bit.
Super.
Yeah. But yes, I would love to have any kind of
great.
information
That's
you guys
cool.
would love. I would love to start working with you guys. So whenever she's ready, we can set up another meeting and explain to her more.
Fantastic.
This
Great.
is totally mine as an end user, but Nima, I run Linux on all my computers, and the Linux version of the app doesn't work. Who do I talk to figure that out? Or is there because it just like the USB works, it connects, it sees the device, but when you click scan, nothing happens. And I don't want this to be tech support, but who do I talk to see if there's a way? I'm sure somebody somewhere has it working right on Linux.
Yeah, shoot me a message. I'll forward that to the company so that they can start working with that. You can also just message support@biowell.com, and that should be a more direct way since that's more related to the company.
Got it. That's what I needed. I figured it would be something ultra simple like that. I don't need to waste your time on it. So thank you.
Of course.
I'll talk to them.
Any other questions for me, Dr. Mona?
Thank you so much again.
My pleasure.
No, I think that's great. It's very informative, and I love what you're doing. I think it is, definitely part of what we should be doing in medicine and moving in that direction and measuring. It's always been difficult to measure energy systems, and when we explain to patients, we are electrical, chemical beings, and so to be able to capture that for people to see and understand is fantastic. So thanks for the work that you guys are doing. That's great.
My pleasure. Thanks for resonating with it and wanting to share it with humanity. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, super. I'll reach out because I'd be interested in purchasing a device myself. So
Sure thing.
I'll reach out as well.
Yeah, Elisa will be in touch
Get my
with
kids
you, and
doing it.
she can make sure that we meet again and get everything taken care of for you.
Okay. Super.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure.
Yep. Thank you all for making that happen.
Yes,
Yeah.
my pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Have a happy Friday.
Have a
We'll talk to you
wonderful
guys soon.
day.
Definitely.
Happy
All right,
Friday.
blessings.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.